To do it, I can do it.
Yeah, you always do it. What the hell? Why are you trying to mix it up now?
This is true. You do the outro.
Anyways. The outro is literally nothing.
I'm going to try to do it looking straight into your eyes. Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode of Literary Liberation. No, the listener, hi. If you're watching the video of this. Welcome. Today we will be discussing, analyzing, and reviewing Walking Practice by Dolki Min. What?
You failed already. You looked down. I saw it.
I did, because I saw the gap. Here, I'll put it back up here. Sorry. For more content outside of the podcast, please check out our Instagram and TikTok at Literary Liberation and Twitter at LitLibPodcast. I don't even know if it's being used, to be honest. If you want to check it out, you can.
What are you talking about?
Kristen, do you use Twitter?
I read the tweets that pop up on the homepage.
Oh my god. Okay, so that's a no. Anyways, for more
it's there. Maybe
it
if
is
people
there.
Tweeted at me, I'm
your co-host, Mariah, and you can find me at Hungry Rye on all social media platforms, and I am using Substack to post nonfiction book reviews, so if you want to check those out, I've been working on those. Anyways, take it over, Kristen.
And I'm Kristen. You can find me at TensTBR on all social media platforms. Pretty much. That's it. Anyways, as Rye clearly stated.
Editing that before I forget.
Edit what?
Since those bastards stole your account.
Oh, yeah.
And started putting
and
really
also,
shitty products on it.
If you are listening to this on YouTube, we mentioned a lot of links and a lot of stuff. That stuff will no longer be in the YouTube description because YouTube is now, I don't know what you'd call it, stupid. And it doesn't let you put links in the description anymore unless you upload your ID, which I'm not doing that because that's none of their business. So if you want any of our links, they'll be in the Spotify description, or I'm sure you can message us on whatever social media for any specific source you're looking for. We have them.
Plus, I imagine if you're watching, if you're watching the YouTube, you might just see the articles or whatever on the screen because we've been trying new editing formats, so it's a little bit more, it's got some visual appeal, some sex appeal, so to speak.
So that means go watch the video on YouTube if you're listening to it right now.
Do it. Period. This book, though, speaking of sex appeal, was a nice little sexy queer horror book that we read with our book club. It got voted upon. It won our poll because people wanted to read a sci-fi novel, and it was cool. It was also a translated novel. This book, I think, originally came out March 22nd of 2022, but I think the translated version didn't come out until the following year in March. This is just what I'm able to extract because there's not a whole lot about this book or the author online because it's we're in a little bit of a niche category.
But I wonder also if it's too, maybe it's not popular here in the United States, and so a lot of our media and stuff is going to be Western centric sort of thing, and so because this is South Korean, right? A South Korean novel, and the original author is from South Korea, I imagine maybe there might be more articles and things that focus more on the actual author, because I did see there was a couple of things about the translator, which I feel like for other translated novels that I've read, you usually don't even see that much about the translator. I've never seen a translator note at the end of a book, which
I will say I see him sometimes, but not very often.
At least not to the extent that this one is, where I feel like it actually more discussed it too.
Yes, it explained kind of the process behind why the translator wanted to pick it up, their feelings, how they try to replicate some of the emotions, because the way that Korean is written and some of the artistic styles, they just can't be translated correctly or effectively. So they took some leaps to make it have the same sort of impact. And anyone that has read this book can see because it's different. It's written very differently. If you like Shark Heart or if you like House of Leaves, even I think if you liked oh my god, what the hell is that book called? This Is How You Lose the Time War, where there's more of an artistic element to your book.
visuals. If you're watching the
there's
YouTube video right now, I have the physical copy where I can show. There's some different formatting options for like there's no quotation marks or anything. It's kind of like any of the I guess whatever, like the dialogue is all like script form, I guess. And then like there's just like sometimes you just get full pages of symbols, you know? So it honestly really is a quick read unless you're Mariah, I guess.
Yes, I had a hard time getting into it, but if you don't know what this book is about and you don't want to be spoiled, I'll let you know. This is according to the Goodreads. It's described as Squid Game meets The Left Hand of Darkness meets Under the Skin in this radical literary sensation from South Korea about an alien's hunt for food that transforms into an existential crisis about what it means to be human. I'm going to leave it there because it is a longer review, which if you want to check it out and you are okay with reading more of the review, go for it, but I do think it gives away kind of a lot in the Goodreads summary, so that's like the TLDR. It is queer, it is horror, there is a lot of body horror, which I think is important to acknowledge, because if you are not somebody that is like used to that, it's very gory at times. I think maybe this won't be for you. This is Dolki Min's first novel, and there's nothing about Dolki Min. Yes, debut. This is a fun word. But there's nothing about the author. There's a T. I don't care. I'm putting it. At least I didn't say debut.
Might as well. It's his first novel. Which has he written? Has he written anything else?
I don't know. It's very difficult to find anything because I think I looked at the author's
Goodreads profile.
Goodreads, and it just says what their name is, and there's also no pronouns associated with it, so I don't know, based on the contents of this, if this is kind of, if they're non-binary, gender non-conforming. I think for the purposes of this, it would probably be safer just to refer to the author with they, them pronouns, because honestly, I don't know. I don't remember reading it in the translator's note. I don't know if you remember reading it.
I can look real quick. Well, it says his on this right here.
Okay, then we can use that.
This part, his
because
first
I'm assuming
novel.
The translator talked to them. Okay, so this is his first novel. I apologize. It's just there's not a lot to go off of.
No, there really isn't.
This did win an award though.
Really?
It won the Otherwise Award in 2024, and that is an award encouraging the exploration and expansion of gender, and it was formerly called the Tiptree Award. If you follow that kind of a thing. I know there's some other, oh my god, what was it? There's some other book award that's going around right now that is getting a lot of traction. I know Chris and I have been in cahoots talking about some of the books. I don't remember which award.
The Hugos just happened. The Hugo Award?
Maybe it was the Hugo, because there was books and then there was also, I think, movies or something.
So the Hugo is like science fiction, like sort of thing. It's like all like science fiction fantasy sort of like realm. Because I know like Dune won like the best like adaptation or something of other. So maybe you're thinking of the Hugos?
Yes, I think that is correct.
That's like the only award that I know anything about, besides like the Goodreads Choice Award, which is like not even like a real thing.
So, and I think that's, I mean, it's like it was all in English. It wasn't a Korean award. I don't know how different awards work in Korea. So if there is any attached to this, it wasn't linked.
Yeah.
There was very little information about this book. This is the least amount of information we've had, I think, since we did like a David Sodergren book.
Probably, which this honestly kind of reminded me of the horror in ways. So I think probably if you like the horror, you would probably like this too. I know you were giving out your recs for people similar, but I do think this is kind of similar to the horror. Like if you like the character of the horror in the horror.
Yeah, if you had like a point of view from the Blob, I think this is pretty spot on. We can get into the quite boring bits, the analytics, the ratings. This has an average of 3.57 stars with 5,600 ratings and just a little over, I think, 1,300 reviews. This is a very niche book. I'm very surprised that it won. If I'm going to be honest, I have not heard anything about
remember?
it. We had some very popular books on. You can look back up at the poll.
Yeah, that's what I was about to do.
The nice thing about the book club on Fable is that you can see kind of what the consensus is, and I'm hoping some of the other books will end up. I'm sure I'm going to end up recycling them in some other polls.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So there was After the Revolution by Robert Evans, The Blueprint by Ray Gianna Rashad. Then there's Wake Up and Open Your Eyes by Clay McLeod Chapman, and then Walking Practice. Which, I feel like Wake Up and Open Your Eyes was the only one that I've heard of outside of what you made. Which, that one I don't think was, like, anywhere close either. Like, for the poll. Yeah, Walking Practice... Oh my god, it shows you who participated in the poll now.
Does it tell you who voted for what?
It doesn't tell you who voted for what, but it says there's 10 votes. So that means 4 people voted for this. Compared to 3 people voting for After the Revolution, 2 people voting for The Blueprint, and Wake Up and Open Your Eyes has 10%. So that's 1 person.
That is very interesting. Sometimes we don't... That was not an update before. So
no, so
I
that
think
just got added.
Really cool.
I wish we
so
could
weird.
see
So out of 115 people that are on
10 people. Is that accurate to, like, American voting? Like, to, like, what the voting is? Or, like,
feels like it sometimes.
Maybe.
I think it's more correlated to a representative democracy, how you're supposed to have your representatives do things. Like, they only do it, like, I don't know, they're like the 10%. We're not getting into political allegories here. We're discussing gender.
The people that did vote are people that do participate, I would say, more in the chat than not. You know, I'm kind of one of those people, though. I'll vote on a poll even if I don't have an opinion. If it's a poll.
I'm exercising my right to democracy.
I do! Sorry, do you hear Penny and Cassie? Let me know. They're being a little crazy right now.
No, I think you're good.
Can you see them?
No.
Oh, I don't know what that was. Anyways, I guess we could talk about our reviews before we go into Spoiler Zone specifically. I think me and Mariah ended up rating this the exact same thing, which is just an even 3 stars. It is a shorter book, so I wouldn't say that I would tell anybody who's like, don't read this, like, it's a waste of your time. Like other 3-star books that I would be like, you could probably skip it. I would say this is short enough where I think if you have even the slightest bit of interest, you might as well sit yourself down and read something different. Because it is definitely something that I would say is not like anything else I've ever read. You know?
This was what I wanted when I was reading The Long Way to a Small and Angry Planet. When I heard, like, queer aliens, this is kind of what I was hoping. There's a little bit darker, a little bit, I don't know. It was, that was all it had going for it, if I'm going to be honest. It did lean a little bit repetitive. I think it is kind of repetitive. And it did feel very long-winded sometimes. Some of the way that it's written is like sentence fragments. It's not... There's a lot of, like, art. It's very artsy. I cannot stress that enough. And I think this is going to work for a certain kind of reader. And judging by some of the ratings that I saw, like the rating demographics or the distribution of the ratings, like the 5-star ratings only have 17%. Like, it's a relatively low percent of 5-star ratings, in my opinion. Whereas 4-star has 37, 3 stars has 30. So it's pretty widespread. I think people are leaning more on, like, it's okay, it's a fine, rather than... I think this is, like, the most subversive piece of text. And I think there's reasons for this present in the text. This is going to be, I think, a little bit harder to talk about because Chris and I have kind of discussed this. I've been waiting for Kristen to finish this for a while. I finished it yesterday, to be honest.
Because I read along with the book club, unlike some people. that read it faster than the book club.
Sometimes I just gotta lock in.
Which, I mean, again, like, this book, it is very repetitive, which I think it either should have been just, like, a short story, or it could have been a full novel where it actually had something major, like, happen. If that makes sense. Like, if there was actually, like, a full, like, fleshed out character with a fleshed out story. Because it wasn't really that at all. It's definitely something that follows, like, one character, and it's very stream of conscious, which Mariah already doesn't like stream of conscious novels, so it really depends on if that's something that you're looking for. What is wrong with you? Sorry, Kazi's meowing. What? Is that mean old girl bothering you? Are you looking for her? They're fighting. Kazi's on top of his van, and then Penny's inside the van. But yeah, I think it is a very, I don't know, like, I can understand why some people would like it, but I just don't think, like, if you're anything like, because me and Mariah are not similar readers, but we are similar in some ways, and I feel like this is one of the ways that we're similar, where I think we either would have preferred it to be, like, I don't know, 100 pages shorter or 100 pages longer.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was kind of occupied by white space and the stream of consciousness. Like, it is so incredibly repetitive.
Yeah.
I don't get it, because even through this, like, you're getting this alien. This is a spoiler zone if you weren't aware. Spoiler zone. Oh my god. But it's the alien doesn't have a gender, so they kind of like put on like their human suit. They are a woman at one point, and then they're a man, and then I think at one point they swap back.
Yes.
The end. It gets a little confusing. I'm gonna be honest. It's confusing because there's just like so much stream of consciousness that I kind of like lost track of like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, because basically
it eats their victims. It stalks people online and like finds people and eats them.
But sometimes it stays with them for a year before it eats them.
It's a really weird
like
novel.
I think the premise is something that's really strong, and I think it could have been like if there was like, I don't know, like some growth or something with the character too, because like I think Mumu is technically the name of the alien. I don't think like for this to be like a character driven novel, there's not a lot of character growth or character like reflection and stuff. It's more just like reflecting on like human society and like gendered society and how we treat like disabled people and stuff, which is fine, which great to have that stuff in your novel, but also like it can have more than that too to make it more compelling.
It kind of felt like the author had an idea where they're like, I want to explore these things, but didn't have like the ideological structure to push against them. And it kind of reminds me, I don't know, because like there's a whole part in the book that I saw in the reviews where people were talking about like it's fat phobic, and
I have felt that in
is
some spots.
relevant.
Yeah, well, because like I think the way there was like one scene where the Mumu is like with this dude or whatever, and he's kind of described, which I know in Korea they obviously have very different beauty standards too than what is here in the United States, and I think a lot of the people there are typically thinner than like American people, because like obviously like there's like the whole thing about like all Americans are on Ozempic now. There's like a whole like problem with like American fast food corporations and things like that here. But again, like within Korea, like there was like somebody where they were like describing them and they were calling him like the elephant man, and it was like kind of disturbing in that way.
I know, and I don't know what was the utility of that, if it was to like be subversive in a way, because this is also one of the only people that Mumu doesn't kill. And feels some sort of solidarity with them. And I don't know if it was meant to do that. It's very unclear as to like what the motive of including that was in it, because there's just like so much sifting through like the fluff, so to speak, like the artsy bits, I couldn't like lock in on what exactly the utility of that scene was.
I think it also could have been a translation issue as well, because again, this is somebody that's translating. They talked about it too. Like some stuff just is not going to translate the same from Korean to this. And again, like society is so much different like in South Korea than what it is here. Like with our Western centric view. And so maybe that could be something to why, which I don't know. I'd be interested in reading like another one of Dolki Min's novels, but maybe if it was like a true novel and not just like another novella.
I can see that. That would be cool. And I think, I don't know, like parts of it, I still don't really understand what the chapter headings were. If you don't know, the book isn't paced out very well.
It's so I think it's like the distance Mumu was traveling to their victim,
demise.
Basically. Yeah. And so
well, I thought it was up until Mumu died, because that was kind of the insinuation, is till Ground Zero where Mumu meets another one of their alien race. It's kind of insinuated. But then that was like what 0 kilometers ended up equaling.
I thought it looked like a butthole.
I did not have those.
Oh, you don't have that?
No, I had the pictures that are in between like the chapters or page breaks or whatever.
I think that was the only one that had a picture,
I didn't have that.
You didn't get the butthole at the end?
I didn't get the butthole at the end.
It looks like a butthole, doesn't it? Let me go back to it. Butthole. You see? Especially after what just happened in the chapter before, I was kind of like, oh. I don't know, because, like, what was interesting to me, too, is that, like, the fact that Mumu got killed by their own other species, like, another creature from their planet, that's, like, so lame. Like, I thought that'd be a great way to be like, oh, now we can build solidarity, and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, something could have blossomed out of that. That could have been a great halfway point to be like, okay, and now let's, I don't know, take over the world and stop implementing gender binaries onto these human people because they don't understand that this is all arbitrary anyways.
And, like, the book starts out so strong. And I know that you felt the same way, because after, like, the first chapter, whatever, we were all in the chats kind of discussing what we felt. And it's
in the book club.
set up really nice. And then it just falls further. And I thought for sure it would at least be, like, I don't know, 4.2 or 4.5 star book, because I like splatterpunk. I like horror and gore and queer and weird books. But this, to me, landed in the same way that This Is How You Lose the Time War does, where it's just a little bit too
artsy-fartsy.
I don't know. Just for my preference,
it's almost like,
where it's almost like a little bit poetic. But it's like, it's not left open in the way that, say, I Who Have Never Known Men, where there's like closure. At least with that, like there's some movement and plot and character exploration with this. I didn't feel like I had a lot to go off of because I was just confused. I'd have to like go back a couple of pages and like double check and make sure. I'm sure this is how you probably felt.
Well, I rated I Who Have Never Known Men the exact same way I rated this book. So I think they all kind of fall in the same category for me, personally. Because I just think, I don't even know. Like, I just like there to be a lot more going on, where I feel like this feels very mundane, which I understand some people like the mundane in their books and things like that, but I feel like I'm not typically drawn towards literary fiction or anything either. So I think I like more intense plotting and things going on, which, like, the gore and stuff was fine. I was actually kind of, like, surprised, because I didn't think it was going to be that graphic either. Like, because, like, I didn't really see anybody talking about how, like, body horror-y it is. Until...
No, I only saw it in, like, the 1-star reviews. There was one that I saw from somebody named Chanel that said, "Dear reader, if you want to read about an amorphous blob-like monster who can mold themselves into human shape so they can hunt and eat humans whilst contemplating humanity in between meals, and then I can recommend someone you can build a nest in, which I thought was interesting because that was also one of our horror books that we had on the poll. So I'm curious how that pairs. That might be a different alternative that we can relate a little bit more to. But they went on and said that this was a crude, repetitive story. The alien just finds ONS. I don't know if it's like ONS or ONS to bang and then decapitate like a praying mantis. The commentary on humans, mainly focusing on gender, wasn't anything amazing. This book, despite being so short, took me forever to read because I hated it. And I kind of feel the same way in some ways. I didn't hate it. I was just like, well, I read it.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's like technically readable. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it to anyone. It takes a really special kind of person to like this book. Oh, thank you. I was like, what does that mean? Sorry, I'm not hip with the kids.
I had to Google it. I also, I'm not in that realm, but... I don't know, I feel like the commentary, it also didn't feel super deep either. It's just, sort of mentioned, passively, rather than it being, dissected. It's more just
it's
humans have this binary. Isn't that so crazy? Anyways, I have to go kill this guy.
It reminds me in some ways of the extremist kind of feminist online faction that was the 4B movement. I'm sure it's still relevant in Korea. In the women's, where it's like a second wave feminist thing, but it's very rooted in biological essentialism. It's very anti trans and non-binary people, and it's a very just superficial and not that great of an understanding of how patriarchy functions or what's the goals of feminism. It's not just anti-man. This kind of felt very surface level in some ways to me as well. And again, this could be either a translation issue or just where some queer activists are in Korea. It's just they're just starting.
They're not as woke as us.
And I would hate to rip into this and be it's not enough based on where I'm at. But I wouldn't recommend this to a lot of people here because I think we have more of an understanding, so we can appreciate it for what maybe it's doing there. But here, we've just come a lot further with our understanding of gender and sexuality as a whole. And I think there's better things possibly to read. I would love to find a really good queer translated novel that just hit the points. But the fact that this doesn't even explore kind of any sort of class-based oppression in that way is kind of just gender is weird.
Yeah.
And we're falling into society rules. I know there was some good quotes that I had linked, but honestly, off the top of my head, I can't remember anything.
No, there's nothing that I feel that really stamps in your brain either.
No, just when the blob, or not the blob, when Moo is going up the stairs, we get a really good understanding of how infrastructure is not designed with the disabled people in mind, with the elevator being down. I thought that was really cool, and I was hoping it was going to play a lot more into that because that was nice. I think it was pretty easy to extract, and you can have a good conversation around it, but then it just kind of
that's still in the first chapter, wasn't it?
Yes, it was all the first. This book could have ended after the first chapter, and I think I would have been okay with it.
Yeah, because then I feel then you're not expecting the commentary to go as in depth as we would like, but I mean, my physical copy is 160 something pages, I think, which of course a lot of that is spread out through formatting, and there's a lot of pictures in between this book, but I still feel at least taking out maybe 20 pages of that, you still have 140 pages to say something, and you're never really getting that full thought said.
Yeah, it didn't really end up coming back around until the 14.5 kilometer chapter, which is at the end to 0, where Moo just goes on this mental tirade, just talking about how much they hate humans and how they just don't fucking care about each other. Moo's falling, and nobody helps Moo to get up the stairs or anything, and the alien is talking about how they feel very similar to like the elderly. And there was like one line where it said, the desire to become a member of society always overpowers the shame of being embraced by their system. And I was like, that's a really cool line. I wish the first and then the last chapter probably could have just come together and made like a full book. I think it would have been a lot better for me.
Yeah. I mean, I do think, well, that's what I'm saying though. Like, I don't think this is like, if this is your favorite book ever, you're stupid sort of thing. I do think it definitely is an interesting read. And I'm glad I read it because I do think it's still good to read stuff that's not typically published, especially in America, because I don't know if we really have anything that's like this here. You know? Like this sort of, besides, I guess someone you can build a nest in or whatever.
No, like the style of it was cool, and I do think what the author was doing was really cool, but it didn't end up going over well in the end.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one to review, and it's interesting that we came to the same review of this, because I thought you were going to hate it a lot more.
I mean, it was just fine. I think maybe if it was like, I think if the subject matter wasn't like queer and like about like, you know, because that's stuff that I'm interested in, like reading about and learning and things like that, then I would be less likely to rate it so high. But I feel like it's like a great idea, just not executed well, I think is how I sit with it. And I like some aspects of it where like I read this pretty quickly. Like I read the first chapter in one sitting, and then like I spread out like each chapter in one sitting, where I wasn't like dragging reading it or anything, you know? Like I read it just fine. It was just like I just wanted more. Like this is like an appetizer sort of meal where it's just like, oh, you get one little dumpling and that's it, rather than like the full meal that you crave whenever you pick up a novel. Which is why I just
and I don't know if this was rated or recommended, or no, what am I thinking? Labeled as a novel or a novella. I think it's technically sitting in the novella range, possibly.
I have no idea
because
I think
of
it's
the
based
word
on word count.
Yeah,
but I don't know how many words are in it. And are they counting each like dash and letter as a word? Because like
that is, I have no idea.
Because it's like there's sometimes where like it'll be like a word and there'll be a space between every letter, sort of thing. And I don't know. And to me personally, whenever that was happening, it didn't feel consistent. It felt random when that was happening too. I don't know if you felt that as well.
Yeah, it felt like the translator was trying to convey, which I don't know what the book looks like in Korean, but like lethargy or something. Like you're going a lot slower, so it's forcing you as a reader to read some. So it's like, so rather than like an author writing like she said this very wearily or groggily, they just did it with the words, like stretching them out. So you as a reader are going slower through it, so it's like forcing you to pace it differently. Like this happens in The House of Leaves sometimes, where it just like forces you as a reader to slow down a little bit. And I think it's like a cool concept, but because it's repetitive and it happens every time the creature like eats,
which is like all the time.
Food.
That's like most of this book, because that's what it's about.
But then it was like the second or third time, it was like, okay, I get it. We're digesting food.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's about it. That's like all I have to say about it.
I don't really think
this is going to be a shorter episode, and I'm sorry. I really tried. I've been sitting on this for weeks trying to come up with something, and I cannot force it. And I can make a lot of things happen. I can't make Christmas Miracle here.
It's still going to be a decent length. We're at 36 minutes right now, okay? So, at least a little something. But I guess I don't really have anything else to say. I would say, I'm assuming if you're listening this far, that's not even what's next, so. But.
No, for the next book club pick, because this was our book club read, our next book club pick is going to be Parable of the Sower or Sour. I don't know how you say it. I've heard it said both ways. By Octavia Butler. Chris and I are going to end up reading both of them. But that's what we're going to read. So if you want to read both of them, you can. But we're for sure going to read At least the first one. With
maybe
the book
what we
club.
could do, because we've already picked it, maybe you could do a poll here this week and seeing if people want to do both of them. And so, like, we'll do, like, the first one the first half of the month and then switch to the second one in the second half of the month.
That could be cool. I don't know. If you're listening to this,
Let us
you're in the
know.
book club, or you want to be in the book club, let us know. Next book, though, that is going to be posted is going to be Catabasis by R.F. Huang. We are going to binge read that bitch.
Yep. So for us, it comes out in 2 days, so we haven't started, but we're getting prepared. I keep seeing there's, like, some people's Walmart, they already have it, like, set out. But I don't think you'd be able to buy it.
Mine isn't even coming until Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm about to get that bitch on Kindle, so then I can get it immediately. Like, midnight hits Monday night, beep. But I don't know if it'll be midnight or 3 a.m. How does that work? Do you know?
I don't know. I've never waited for an e-publish like that.
Midnight release.
It should say on the Kindle, if that's who you buy it through is Amazon, it'll tell you what the time is that it releases on.
Oh, let me see.
Because when I get my alien romance from, like, Ruby Dixon or Dax, it'll tell you, like, the date. Yeah, it'll say, like, it's gonna be out. Right now it just says October, or, oh my god, August 26th.
Oh my god, Penny! Just fell, stupid idiot. Get out of there! You can't drink that.
I think you can just click Get Book and buy it, and it'll just automatically send to you when it comes out.
It says it will be auto-delivered to my Kindle on August 26, 2025. So there's no time.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. I mean, it's only $15 for the Kindle one, which I feel like is not bad, considering most of the time the Kindle book will be more expensive than, like, the paperback or something, you know?
Yeah, I bought 2 different copies of it.
Which I'll probably, if I end up really liking it, I will get a physical copy for sure. But I'm just trying to make sure this gets into my hands ASAP so that I can start it, because it's kind of long too. But other than that, don't forget we'll have Carl coming out. Wait, no, what'll be after Catabasis? Carl, yeah.
The Butcher.
Yeah, so then we'll also have another Carl this next month. We got lots of things planned for the month of September. Other than that, thank you and good night.